Okay, so we'll get going. Study options in the United States. Has anyone been to the United States before here? No one? Not yet. Okay. Well, maybe from these programs that I will talk about today, a lot of exchange programs both for educators and for students, and maybe in the future one of you will be. I know that there is a girl from Gimnasia Luftoroy on number 2. She was there this summer, like last summer, 2016. I was hoping Olga was going to be here so she could talk about that, but maybe she'll still show up. But first we'll talk about educators. I figured the educators would be here on time, so that information here is first. And I'm going to run through here a series of exchange programs that are funded and run by the U.S. State Department and the U.S. embassies abroad. These are programs which you can apply for, and they run from a few weeks in the summer to an entire year program, such as the Fulbright Scholar Program. This is the first one we'll talk about. Fulbright Scholar Program. There are approximately 150 scholars, so these are like people doing their PhD research who go to the United States each year from more than 100 countries, including Belarus. And you can stay in the United States from 6 months to a year doing your research, and you're required to have your PhD, a doctoral degree, or an equivalent, and be fluent or have proficiency in English to do your research and live in the United States. A lot of the funding is covered for by the U.S. government, and it's under the Fulbright umbrella, the Fulbright programs, international exchange programs, that also brought me here. So Fulbright is a very prestigious program. It's difficult to get in, but $850 a year for the scholar program do come to the United States every single year. And like with all of these programs, if you meet the requirements, why not apply? There was also a Fulbright scholar who was from Polk State University, who was last year in, I believe, Alabama or Arkansas. She just came back. She was there for 6 months. So even someone right here in Polotsk was accepted through the system, through this program. Moving on, there's also the Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program, known as TEA. This is a 6-week summer program for teachers from other countries to come to the United States for basically a teacher training, as an intensive teacher training program. Learn about how education in the United States works, and you have to be a full-time teacher at a secondary school. That could be at like the gymnasia or the college or even any school here in Belarus. You have to have at least 5 years of teaching. For most of you, that's not a problem. A bachelor's degree or an equivalent, and have a TOEFL score of 450 on the paper test. For the internet-based test, that's a 45. Or any of that, you can do the other language tests as well, as long as it's equivalent to a 450 of the TOEFL paper test. I'm going to upload these all onto the Contactia page. So if you're interested in these, you don't have to write it down right away. I'll upload this in like a PDF form onto the Contactia page, and you can access that to look at any of these programs you might want to later that interest you. But just pay attention right now and remember, if this is something, hey, I could apply for this. Why not? Why not? There's nothing to lose. Another one is Suzy. I actually worked for this program on the receiving end in the United States. It's called the Study of the U.S. Institutes. It is for mid-career educational professionals. This could be teachers. This could be curriculum developers. This could be people who work for the, let's say, the Bureau of Education in Minsk. Anyone who's involved in education and is a mid-career professional. That means about 30 to 50 years old. I see that we got a mistake there in this. Yeah, in the academic sphere, exactly. This is a 6-week program, and you're sent to different parts of the United States. My alma mater for my bachelor's is Chico State, California State University, Chico, and they are one of the host institutions that host people who come from abroad, and each university gets about 20 different educational professionals. Each summer, they have them for 6 weeks. They have about 5 of those weeks in the host location. So in Chico was this example for me. And then they spend about 1 week. Our group, they went to Chicago, and then they went to Washington, D.C. and met people with the State Department, and then flew home. Everything was covered. They cover your airfare. Doesn't matter if it's from Minsk or it's from Niamey, Niger. We had one guy from Niger, not Nigeria, but Niger, which is the country on top of Nigeria. All around the world. We had people from Niger, Algeria, France, Poland, Vietnam, South Africa, India, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Australia, Vietnam, Burma. And you saw the people in the last week's presentation who I had met in Burma, in Myanmar, and that was through this program, as I was working this program. And for the educators who are in the room, I highly recommend applying for this. We did actually have a Belarusian at my home university in Chico, California. Veronica, she's down in Soligorsk. And yeah, she was accepted through this Suzy program. She's a teacher down there. And spent 6 weeks in Chico. And yeah, I'm gonna go to her school in April, and it'll be a nice little reunion. But my job is working for the Suzy program as kind of the IT guy and the program coordinator and the host. I had to make a video of the Suzy experience that all of these people from around the world experienced, and you can now see what that Suzy experience is like. So this was in the summer of 2014.
My name is Dragan Radoma.
My name is Basim.
I'm Nona.
My name is Camille.
I'm Rishma.
My name is Saran. My name is Ainura.
My name is Kent, short for Catherine.
I'm Diana Parks, Director for International Training Programs. The Suzy program is a U.S. State Department funded program, and it stands for Study of the U.S. Institutes. The institute here in Chico is a 5-week program in which participants from, in this case, 19 different countries, and they are all educators, and they are coming to the United States to learn about California educational system and access and equity in the United States society and education. Through a series of seminars, a lot of site visits, a lot of opportunities to exchange with Americans. They are learning how the United States functions. I really feel that there is an impact being made through these programs. These people go home with a different understanding than what they came with. Not only about Americans, but about the people from the other cultures that they're meeting through this program.
I have a better understanding of the educational system here, about how sensitive you are to diversity, to other people's needs. And it really brings thoughts about my own country, what we can do differently, and how we can improve our sensitivity. For example, the acts that you have with disabled kids.
Big hug.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, quickly. Come on. Come on.
It's very difficult to say just one thing, what is the biggest impression. The whole experience was wonderful, absolutely amazing. I'm still under the impression what I had in San Francisco, the diversity of the city, the sights, everything, what we saw there was absolutely different from what I have seen before in my life.
Also, what I've taken from the whole project of the Suzy, it's an upward bound program of bringing children to universities and make them to focus their lives, their careers, and improve their studies. and also bringing the poorest of the poor learners so that you uplift them. To me, those are the things that I'm going to take to my country.
I learned a lot. I'm going to take a lot back with me, especially concerning the sense of community that you have in America, which I think is absolutely amazing. And I knew about it before, but it went far beyond what I had expected. The whole idea of everything being possible, as long as if you want it, you can make it. If you work really hard, then you can. In America, I have this impression that people are always looking for the positive in everything, in everybody, and it's very pleasant. Very, very pleasant to see.
I discovered a lot of wonderful things I just had in dreams. I could not think that it was possible to have them on Earth.
Wonderful it was. It's like a dream and it is true.
Picture, so you have to pay attention. Wait a minute, that's at the very end. That's the last.
Spend an hour explaining how a camera works. Because I sat.
C'est bien obligé, c'est bien de snow.
Doesn't that seem like a wonderful summer collaboration for educators?
Like paradise.
Yeah, so why not apply, you know? It doesn't cost anything to apply, and the way that works is that you send an application, and then you'll have an interview, usually with the embassy, and you may get it. And so yeah, I highly recommend that. I saw with my own eyes the educators from around the world who came to Chico, how that was a life-changing experience for them, and yeah, totally go for it. Another program is called Professional Fellows Program. It brings emerging leaders in society. So this is not just educators, but people who do NGO work, empowerment for underprivileged people, journalism around the world, and so forth. There's a 1-month program that's looking for community leaders. You don't necessarily have to be an educational teacher. You can be, if you're a community leader, it brings people who are between the ages of 25 to 40 to the United States, and you have to have a track record. You have to have a history of making impact in your community. And yeah, speaking English, 2 years of professional experience. About everyone in the room has that. So yeah, another thing you can apply for. There's also the American Council of Young Political Leaders, also not just for educational professionals, but people who would be involved in politics and government and international relations, and really promoting diversity, both especially culturally. That's something that the U.S. likes to support, is cultural diversity. We are the melting pot of the entire world. Everyone from all over the world lives there. So this program also 25...
Extreme forms allowed?
Or what?
Extreme forms.
Extreme forms of what?
Of cultural forms. Like some cultural abilities could be taboo for another.
I don't understand this question.
It's about cultural diversity. But some forms of cultural diversity could be extremely offensive to others. Offensive.
Well, I think, of course, a culture that is diverse and that is open, it is vulnerable. But I think that the benefits of diversity, in America, we value that they outweigh the risks or the negatives, because you get innovation, you get away from groupthink, you get stuff like the Silicon Valley that develops, where you've got people around the entire world from diverse backgrounds that come together with their ideas and mix them together with other people from different cultural backgrounds and different ways of looking at the world and thinking. Like take Chinese, for example. There have been studies that show that Chinese perceive time totally different than we do here in Europe or in the West. And I had a program in my grad school where it was maybe 1/3 of the room Chinese, 1/3 of the room Germans, and 1/3 of the room internationals, like myself, Westerners. And we divided up into 3 different groups, and they gave us just paper, glue, scissors, and markers, pins. And we had to explain, hello, come on in. Absolutely, it's open there, come on. And we had to explain a process. Okay, the process, I don't remember what it was, but let's say the process of making dinner tonight. That's it, you know? And the internationals and the Germans made a table, yeah? Left to right, step by step, like this kind of, you see here, you know? Step 1, step 2, boom, 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 neat and organized. From left to right. The Chinese, and we had words. The Chinese had from top to bottom, with no boundaries, but just like a picture and then arrows pointing down, arrows pointing down, arrows pointing down with pictures. And that visualized how a different culture perceives life, perceives time, perceives everything that we are perceiving as well in a different way because of a different cultural background. And when you take that different perspective and throw that into the working place, throw that into like a think tank or an innovative center, then you get brilliant things like the iPhone. You know?
Well, because Steve Jobs already has these abilities.
Well, it's definitely, the diversity definitely helps.
Some time.
And you know Steve Jobs, he's actually the immigrant, he's from a family of Syrian immigrants. Look at that, if we banned all Muslims coming to America, we would not have the iPhone.
He was adopted.
Yeah, but his father's from a Syrian family. So, we're moving on though.
Well, Steve Jobs, because his socionics was like that, he was very innovative.
It's true. With the calligraphy and the different kinds of fonts that we have today.
Calligraphy, first graphical interface, which is with Macintosh.
But further on these programs that you can study in the US with, this one, the ACYPL, if you want to call it, is more about people in society who are promoting political change and diversity in policymaking in their country. Another one, are there any artists in here? Musicians, I should say. Are there any artists or musicians? Anyone play an instrument? I know you're just shy. Everyone plays something here. Yes, you do. I've seen you play the piano.
Yeah, but I'm just a star.
Yeah?
Also could play guitar or make music with PC.
This could be something for you then. This is called One Beat. It's a musical exchange program. And like I said, international musical exchange program that celebrates music collaboration and diversity. And connecting people and diplomacy through music. And this is a 4-week program. They take musicians from around the world, fly them to the United States, ages 19 to 35. And you create concerts actually across the US. You get together with other musicians from around the world, and then you hold concerts across America for 1 month. Paid for by the US government. Not bad, huh? And here's a little video about what One Beat is.
1, 2, 3,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
One Beat is an international music exchange that celebrates musical collaboration and social engagement through people-to-people diplomacy. Young musicians from around the world come together in the US for 4 weeks to collaboratively write, produce, and perform original music, and develop ways that sound can make a positive impact on our local and global communities. One Beat begins with a residency, where fellows create new material and record new musical ideas. The fellows then go on tour, performing for a wide array of American audiences, collaborating with local musicians and leading youth workshops. It's a chance for adventurous musicians from an incredible diversity of traditions to seek common ground, create new musical combinations, push the boundaries of music technology, and find ways to involve all members of society in the process of musical creativity. This journey is called One Beat. We invite you to be a part of it.
So if you're a musician, this could be a wonderful summer exchange program also through the State Department. And there's also sports diplomacy. Now, sports diplomacy is not something that is, I would say, as open to just to go and apply for as some of these other ones, but there was an example of when there was a first exchange between, a hockey exchange between the NHL and KHL, when 18 Russian youth hockey players actually came to Washington, D.C. as sports diplomats.
Мы дипломаты спорта.
Вот мы тренировались вчера с маленькими девочками, у них вот тренировка как бы построена на игре, ну как бы веселая тренировка, не то что там упражнения утомительные, а вот веселые. Вот это очень радует, то что для маленьких, ну такое вот все-таки используют. Вот, а большие девчонки, они скоростные, там, ну, как бы, да, быстрые и много чему можно научиться у них. То есть большой опыт можно взять.
Да, я тоже.
Тренироваться.
Согласен, тоже согласен. И считаю, то, что даже можно посоветовать многие упражнения тренеру своему, когда приеду в Россию.
Another sport diplomacy exchange was when, in 2013, Olympic gold medalist Evan Lusakek from America came to Belarus and actually held ice skating clinics here. Did anyone ever hear of that? No? I was amazed to find that too. I was impressed. Yeah, that was in Minsk in 2013. So these have been kind of the programs for educators or for adults in general. But now we'll move into what options for students that there are. One of them is the Youth Leadership Programs. Has anyone heard of the YLP? Yes?
Yes.
What do you know about it?
It is a lot of our students of Gymnasia #1 participated in this program, and last year our student Margarita also visited America, and it's in our school a lot of students participate in this program. A lot of them pass through the first stage and have interview, but not everybody go to America.
But some of them do.
Yes,
and
it's just an interesting experience for us to write in English and maybe find some some leadership in our own characteristic.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
And I would say the whole application process is actually a great conditioning and a great training for future applications, even like in jobs or maybe even future study interviews or maybe even visa interviews in the future that you may do. So have you applied for it yourself?
I was too young.
But now you're, I'm assuming, with between 15 and 17?
Yes, but this year we didn't receive a letter about this program, so we didn't apply for it this year.
I know you can follow this information and news about this on the embassy website and Facebook page from the U.S. Embassy in Minsk. It is for pupils between 15 and 17, 3 to 4 weeks in the U.S. with activities, team building exercises. You get to see all different parts of the U.S. I know that some of them from Bratislava were then in Colorado or California and then D.C. And for those high schoolers here who are in the gymnasia, why not apply for it? You know, nothing to lose. You know, absolutely. Great opportunity for high school kids. Another one for high school kids is called the Benjamin Franklin Summer Institute. And this is also a summer workshop kind of a program, also ages 16 to 18. But this one is not open to public applications. You actually have to be nominated by the U.S. Embassy. This is a little bit more difficult to get. Open applications are accepted for the YLP program. There's also a flex program. This is where you spend a whole academic year in an American high school. And you have to be between grades 9 and 12, so 9th graders to 12th graders, high school age in America, that's like 14 to 18. You have to have good grades, of course. Have not spent more than 3 months in the United States within the past 5 years. But it is a very difficult program to apply for. Only 1 in 50 who apply are accepted. But still, 800 students each year from around the world go to America and study for 1 year in American high school and live with American host family. I think this is an experience that you'll remember for the rest of your life. And I, as a student in high school, always wanted to do an exchange, study abroad. I would later in college, but I would highly recommend for this. I recommend applying for this Flex program. Nothing to lose. Why not? You know. There's also a global undergraduate program. This would be 1 semester to go abroad while you're already in university. You have to be an undergraduate, so doing your bachelor's, you have to complete your high school diploma. What's the diploma of a gymnasia here called? Higher education. Higher education. Secondary. If you completed your secondary education in Belarus, you can apply for this. And you have to commit to returning to Belarus after you finish this, but you can spend 1 year funded, as a 1 semester funded at a university in America. The SUSI program we looked at earlier, there's also a SUSI program for student leaders. So this would be then for your bachelor students as well. It's a summer program, 5 to 6 weeks, and you do similar things that we saw with the educators, but this is more workshops of international student leaders. So if you can show that you're a good student and that you're a leader in your community and that you do things outside of just getting good grades, but you help out at your, you run the community dog shelter, or you have other extracurricular activities. You did the Olympiada and were, this level in the city or even the oblast or even the country. These kind of things outside just the normal going to school, getting a good grade. These kind of things are what make you fall into the category of people they want to pick. It's called extracurricular activities. That means activities outside your curriculum, outside of just what you need to learn, and community involvement, helping out with the community, not so much like a job, but just good out of your heart, helping the community. Summer program for students in the United States. SUSI for student leaders. Also the Fulbright Foreign Student Program, also under the umbrella of Fulbright that I'm here for. We have American students who go and study in other countries who are doing their PhD or their master's, and this program is then for graduate students, so people doing their master's in other countries, to then go and have 6 months or 1 year in the United States. You have to have already finished your bachelor's and be working on your master's degree in your home country. It's a very highly competitive, but why not apply for it? My position here in Polotsk was also highly competitive, but I got lucky and I'm here. So все возможно, yeah, and you will never know unless you try, and you miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take. So all of these programs that I talked to you are available on this website, exchanges.state.gov. You can put in there non-US citizen, home country, Belarus, and you'll see a student or educator, and you'll see all of the programs that would fit to you that you can apply for. And I will put this presentation, like I said, on Kontaktia on the Polotsk English Club page so that you can access this. Look at these and also look through the links. These are active links that will be on there. So, another option to study in the US. We've got like 22 minutes before the library closes, so I'll jam through this. The F1 study option, F1 visa study option. This means you apply to a university or a community college in the United States to apply as a student. You have to be accepted by the community college or by the university. If they say, yes, you can study here, you're good, your grades are good enough, and you can show that you can support yourself financially, then you can go to the US and be issued a study visa. While you're there, you're able to work on campus. You can work for the university. The big universities have a lot of jobs, from selling materials at the university store to cleaning up the leaves to everything. The universities employ a lot of students, and international students get first priority because they are only allowed to work at the university in the first year. During the university year, you can work 20 hours per week when you have classes and 40 hours per week during the holidays. After 1 year, and under extreme financial hardship, then you can work off campus as well. But this process, you have to get accepted to a school, then you have to pay a fee to be inside of this CVIS program, and that fee is $200. After you've been accepted, you have to pay this fee, and then complete your I-20 form and complete your application form, go to an interview at the U.S. Embassy, and if you're approved with that, then you can go to the United States and study at that university that you've been accepted to. Your visa is not guaranteed to be granted at the interview. In most cases it is, but you just need to show, okay, why this is good for your future, why you picked the university you're going to, and kind of like a 4-year plan. Okay, how do I plan to get my degree there? Now, do you apply to a college or to a community college? Like a university or a community college? You may remember in the Life in California lecture, we talked about the cost of colleges and universities. There is a thing called out-of-state tuition. And out-of-state tuition is a system that only people living in California who have been living there can pay the lower tuition rate. Here in California at a university, it's $3,500 a semester. But if you're from Nevada, or you're from Russia, or you're from Germany or Australia, you have to pay out-of-state. Doesn't matter if you're from Nevada or you're from halfway around the world, you have to pay out-of-state tuition, and it's much more than about 2 times more. Why is this? Well, out-of-state for the United States domestically, it's so that all of the people will not come to one state because they have the best universities. That you'll stay in your home state and study there. I'm very lucky that I was born in California because I could go to the California universities at the in-state tuition price, and we have some very good universities in California. Now, community colleges, you can go there for your first 2 years and take those first 2 years of credits and apply that to your bachelor's then at the university for year 3 and possibly 4. That's much cheaper, $600 for in-state tuition. But for out-of-state tuition, it is still very expensive, $3,500. An example of a community college in my hometown, Butte Community College. I actually went there for 1 semester. To be accepted to that college through the F1 visa process, you have to show that through a scholarship or through funding of your parents or family or friends, you have to show that you have available $18,000. And you have to have a TOEFL exam of 45 or 450 on paper. That's the F1 visa route. If you have the finances, it's very possible. If you don't, it's very difficult. And keep in mind that even for Americans, 70% of all graduates have debt, and the average debt for a graduating American student with their bachelor's is $28,000. So, university in America is not cheap by any means. My mom paid off her debt until mid-40s, so a lot of people do. A way kind of around that is a green card lottery option. Have you heard of the green card lottery?
Yes. I think everyone.
Yeah? Okay, good. Well, then you know the background. It's also known as the diversity, they're going to throw us out of here in 15 minutes. Okay, we're good. It's also known as the Diversity Immigrant Visa Program, or the DV program. 55,000 visas are issued every year from around the world for people to get a green card, to go to the United States. To apply, you have to have a high school diploma, secondary school education, and 2 years of work experience. There's no minimum age. There's no maximum age. If you're married, you can bring your spouse. And you can apply for free once a year. And in 2015, 1,466 Belarusians were selected from 100,000 applicants. So it's about 1.5% chance. It's not much, but it is a chance. Drawings are done at random. I actually know a Belarusian who was selected for this, and a Russian. And if you are selected, you can have legal residence and working permission in the United States, and you get in-state tuition at American universities. So remember those community colleges. If you got accepted for that and moved to California, you could then pay only $600 a semester to study at the community college. It's exactly what I did when I graduated high school, because I saw, okay, I'm getting about the same education, the same credits that I would here for $3,500, but I'm paying only $600. Ding. Yeah. So that's very possible. After 5 years, you also qualify for federal financial aid. So, as we know, the salaries in Belarus are lower than in America, and you'll likely be there on your own. You can also get financial federal aid from the government, and they will give you money to study. And so, if you are a student and you get the green card, this is a very good opportunity to get a degree from the United States in a way that you could afford it. After 5 years, you can have the option to naturalize and obtain a U.S. passport. Now, that is a random drawing. It's not merit-based. It's not like, oh, I'm a great student, a great person. What if I'm an outstanding citizen and an outstanding student, but just not lucky in the lottery, okay? Well, there are also scholarships. Some scholarships, such as this one, the Emerging Global Leader Scholarship, it is competitive. You do have to also have a little luck in applying for that. But if you apply for it, you can get up to a full ride. A full ride means they pay everything. All your tuition, housing, everything. Or you can get a partial scholarship ranging between $6,000 to $250,000. A lot of scholarships are available in the United States. Not all of them for international students, but a lot still are. I got a scholarship even as low as, a few $100s to, $500, $1,000. They even have scholarships for just being tall. I mean, there's scholarship, it sounds crazy, I know, but a scholarship that would really allow you to get a whole education would be some of these full ride scholarships. And that would be the American University in DC. Drexel University also offers full ride scholarships to international students who are excellent students and community citizens. This one's without room and board. The links here, you'll be able to get more information about that. But there's also a lot of universities, higher end universities, that say, okay, hey, if you apply and you are accepted, then we will make it work for you that you can afford it. Stanford University is one of them. When you apply, you have to say, yes, I need financial aid. Your financial aid status, like need or not need, does not affect your admission. And if you get accepted, then they guarantee that they will make it possible for you to study there and live there and finish your degree. In Stanford, if your parents make less than $125,000 a year, I think that's everyone in the room, you don't have to pay tuition. And if they make less than $65,000 a year, you don't have to pay for your dormitory or your food at the cafeteria at the university. Getting accepted into Stanford is not easy. No, absolutely not. But it's worth a shot. I have a Belarusian friend who got accepted into MIT. Yeah, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. There are a ton of colleges. They are, a lot of them, the Ivy League, the higher end colleges, that offer to meet 100% of the students' needs, financial needs. This is a list here on blog.collegegreenlight.com that will show you all of these colleges. And you can look into that. But if you are an outstanding student in high school here, I don't think there's any reason why you shouldn't give it a shot. And even if you don't get it in your bachelor's, look at your master's. When I graduated with my high school diploma, I had a 3.8 from a 4.0. So 3.8 from 4.0 in GPA. I applied to like some of the bigger schools, UC Santa Barbara, University of California, Santa Barbara. Wow, it's one of the better schools at the time. And I thought, that's where I want to go. I didn't get in. No. But after 4 years, when I finished my bachelor's, continue to even longer positive academic history with good grades. Also still had a 3.8 when I finished college. I applied to a bunch of master's degrees and MBA programs around the entire world, from America to Germany, Poland, China, all over the place. I got into every single one. So, you know, you apply for some of the things I told you about today. Most of them you will get rejected. That's the reality of it. But you may also get accepted to one or two of them. And it may be a life-changing experience, like the SUSI program for educators or even for students. Our program that we had for that was 3 years ago now. And we still have an amazing network of colleagues from the SUSI program. And we're having a reunion conference in Portugal this year, where all these people come back and re-collaborate. What has happened in 3 years since we had this conference in the United States, or this 6-week program in California. So I highly recommend you apply for these. I will upload this, like I said. Next week we'll talk about Australia. It'll be more back to the typical presentation style. This was more of an informative session. But I hope that some of you apply for some of these. And maybe if you're not, of the age yet, I think the minimum age of this was like 14 for high school students. But think about it. In the future, maybe that's something I could apply for. And that's why not? Set the bar high. Have those distant reach goals. We call them reach goals. And see what happens. All right. So next week, Australia. Kangaroos for the next 162 kilometers. Yeah.
And also with fly, the jellyfish, and all the animals.
I tell you, I saw a lot of kangaroos, that's for sure. And there's also the second longest straight road in the world in Australia. It's 90 miles, which I think is about 162 kilometers long, no turns, just straight, not a single turn. The only longer one is in Saudi Arabia somewhere. So, next week, Australia. Hope that was interesting for you. I hope you took something from that. And we'll see you next week, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for coming here, making the way through the rough weather. And next week we'll be back at 5:15. They close today at 6 for tomorrow's holiday. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. How was Apple changed?